And welcome to Something to Talk About here on a wonderful evening. And of course, we are sitting in our famous booth along with our chaser platter from King's and our fruit platter. And we're lining up tonight guests to talk about all things girls, really the power of chicks. That's what the topic is tonight on Something to Talk About. Come on back. Welcome again to Something to Talk About tonight. I have a couple of ladies that are here with a pretty interesting job. It's a volunteer job, and they're here to talk about it. We had this conversation before about Friends of the Park, and one of the leading members of Friends of the Park, you know, that's how they build you, is Marie Benito and Renee Mesa in with us today to talk about this other phase of Friends of the Park that we had a conversation with Juanita Blas last year with Island Girl Power, where you guys were sprucing up these abandoned parks, right? That was first phase.
Part one. Phase one of our project was to we received a grant with the help of the Non-Communicable Disease Consortium.
Yeah.
And
what was that? Well, I mean, I just wanted to know how that started for you. Was it that you saw a park in disarray and then said, oh, no, that's not going to happen on Guam? Or how did that work out?
This happened way before I came into the picture. I think there is roughly 50 parks, neighborhood parks throughout the island of Guam. And these are smaller parks, not your Ipao Beach or your Paseo Park.
These are neighborhood kind of.
Neighborhood parks. And so Juanita got involved with Carlotta, the young girl, the Azuda Foundation director. And so what they did was they basically did an inventory of these parks, identified Dedido because Island Girl Power compound is situated there, and they realized that many of these parks were in disarray and needed some sprucing up. Some of them needed to be taken back literally. And so that was phase one, is we chose one park with the most promise. It has a basketball court, a handball court, and a tennis court.
Wow.
But, you know, needs resurfacing, they need backboards. There was a lot of debris because people had used it as their dumping ground. Cars were parked in there, abandoned cars. So phase one was to rid it of all the junk and fence it off.
So did you adopt one park only, or were there several in the works at the same time?
This is actually a series of 2, possibly 3 smaller parks. So the basketball court is in the largest area, and then the other 2 smaller parks, and they're all connected with a sidewalk. I mean, the kind that you would see in the States.
Oh, yeah.
That meanders through and goes on to across the street is another park, an open space. No playground equipment, but you see the promise.
Yeah.
So what we did was we received a grant from the Office of Minority Health, and were able to fence off areas that still had access into the park with cars, and so it secured the area from hopefully more dumping.
Where's this at? Is this the one that was in Dedido?
It's Kaiser.
Liguan. Okay, yeah.
This one is Kaiser, and it's on East Sangsong.
Okay.
So we're still working on that. We've worked with military partners and private companies. Pacific Unlimited, Payless came on board. We had Guam Home Center, and numerous others. We had the help of the mayor, probation.
That was a lot of work, though. But did you have neighborhood volunteers, people who were from the community come in? Hi, Renee. Jump in there anywhere you want to. No, it's okay.
Miss Marie was the one actually doing the whole taking the park and transforming it. So I haven't actually. I work with the girls at Clubhouse, where we're trying to get the girls out there into the not just my girls, but the girls at the Clubhouse, but the community, to use those parks. It's there, and it's like in the back of people's homes, and they're being overgrown with jungle and trash and stuff. And so this is something that the community should know that's
to
there.
sign on to. I remember when we were first talking about it that people were kind of using it as their own personal dump for sure, and that it was in such bad. But weren't they when you started to spruce it up? Did you get people in the community that saw that something was transforming right before them?
There was an effort prior to us coming on board. It was another group, I think out of UOG, and AmeriCorps had come in and tried to create a community garden. We try to ramp up that effort this time around by going into the neighborhood, and we attacked 7 homes with flyers and surveys and said, hey, come on board. Let's have a town meeting. You tell us what you want.
Yeah.
So we had 10 show up, and a lot of the residents are older folks, so
Yeah.
some of the heavy labor they can't necessarily take part in, but we wanted them to be a part of the discussion. This is their backyard, and
Yeah.
we wanted others in the neighborhood to come on over and utilize it. And we found that it is being utilized, but not to the degree that it can be utilized. And there's safety
What
issues.
is it? Is that what it is? I was going to ask you
Yeah.
that. That's the part. Is there lighting at night and that sort of thing, or no?
There are lights that were up, but I think it's been turned off because a lot of the copper wiring has been taken out.
Yeah.
There were beautiful brick water fountains and a bathroom, but it's since been graffitied on and
Wow.
vandalized, and the water was turned off because I think they were
Well,
siphoning water.
Oh, for personal use, yeah.
So
It feels like, I mean, it's kind of like a one step forward, two step back situation. But it's not anything that is necessarily control. I mean, that's not your job to control that part of it.
we don't want to be adversaries. So we've gotten the mayor on board. We've talked with Department of Parks and Rec. We've got land management to look at boundaries. There are some issues of encroachment that are just beyond our ability to
yeah.
address. But once we put up the fencing and we've got land management to agree to where we put the markers, at least now we have an idea of where our boundaries are and what we
Can control, yeah.
And so we're looking at phase 2 and getting families and young kids in there to increase physical activity.
So that phase 2 is the part that we wanted to talk about during this part of the interview, because the phase 2 part is the cool part. This
Yeah.
is like actually getting kids to come into the park and utilize it. And so, of course, Marie Benito, who's one of the most active women on Guam anyway, there would be Zumba and exercising and running and all that stuff that's involved. Tell us how phase 2 is going to work.
Okay, so we continue to need to maintain the park because we're looking at people coming in, and we've got the military. They're coming in with a huge effort in about 2 weeks. About 23 airmen from the Airmen Leadership Academy will be in, and these are welders, electricians, and people masons probably, and what they're going to do is they've chosen our park, and they will be looking at a scope of work to either fix the backboards, possibly build playground equipment.
Wow. And that's all still grant money, but those are
Nope,
volunteers.
That's
That's
their
them.
plan. That's their project. So they're coming on
Yes.
board. We're there saying thank you, and we will provide refreshments.
Water.
And,
Yeah.
but they're going to utilize all their
Wow,
own
that's a good.
resources.
That's pretty good. That's a great partnership to have.
Oh yeah, and beyond that, they want to maintain it. At least once
Adopt
a month.
it, sort of,
Adopt it.
yeah.
And so we still want to work with our residents, because once a month is obviously not going to cut the grass. So it's gonna grow long. And
Yeah.
so-
So part of the activities that are planned for the park, is this going to be something that's ongoing? This is a one-time event, or is this?
This is Saturdays in June, so it's kind of we want to test the waters and see how well it works. But Island Girl Power, Renee is the supervisor of the clubhouse.
Right.
So she does the Saturdays events. I'm kind of piggybacking off her program at the clubhouse, and
We have the girls there from 10 to 2, and the girls are ranging from the ages of 7 through 14, and we try to do, we have a whole activity planned for the day, and so for the month of June, we kind of changed our daily schedule to work with Miss Marie and go ahead and we have a schedule now with her, and for half the day to go ahead and introduce the Friends of the Park, and get the girls out there into the park and get them physical.
Get them physical.
Get them
So
moving.
every Saturday, how is that? They show up at the park, and you'll be doing. Are you going to be doing all of this, all the activities?
I've got partners. I'm fortunate to know a few people who are active in the community
Yeah.
and love exercise. But what it is we want to make sure that we're opening it up to beyond girls 7
Yes.
through 14. So it's open to boys and girls.
Okay.
And we encourage even their
The
parents,
parents,
because
yes.
issues with lifestyle and health and fitness
Starts
it
at
requires
home.
good role models.
Yeah.
So we're encouraging the parents to come on board. We're going to start with a prevention piece, which is the first 30 minutes. We're going to talk about cancer, body image, portion control, and empowerment issues. Then we're going to move right into a physical activity, Zumba, yoga, power walking, running.
Wow.
And
Do the
then-
girls like that kind of stuff? Do
They love it.
Do they?
Yes,
Wow.
they do. They're usually what we have them doing is dancing. We have them going out and they're on the pogo sticks. They're
Oh,
out
yeah.
hitting tetherball. They're always out there while we're in between activities. They'll get outside and they'll start moving.
Yeah,
So this
yeah.
is really good for them.
And so every Saturday for the rest of June, you can go out there and there will be some activity that's going to happen in that park. So those guys that are coming from the Air Force Leadership Academy have got their work cut out for them pretty soon here because they've got to try and get that place together.
They're going to be probably working, we'll be in the park already, but our first activity is a running, power walking activity. So we'll utilize the sidewalks
Yeah.
that have been cleared. We've had partners come in ahead of us to help clear the park, but their effort is going to be major because they have all the
Yeah.
skills to.
Yeah. Well, we're going to come back, take a break real quick, but when we come back, we are a community of women that are trying to raise women. And there are obstacles all along the way. And some of the things you talk about are role models, girls needing role models, and determining how they are going to live their lives with control over what they know. And how to instill that is a feat. I know that you deal with that at Island Girl Power. We're here with Renee Mesa and Marie Benito, and we're talking, I think, all things girls. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Something to Talk About. Of course, we're at King's Restaurant in Tamuning, and thank you to King's staff for, we've got the Chesa platter here. It's the Tenali chutney and the mozzarella sticks, and then, of course, the ever-present fruit bowl. With Marie Benito, Friends of the Park, and Renee Mesa with the Island Girl Power. Before the break, I was saying that we are all women, mothers. Are you a mother,
Yes, I
Renee?
am.
Do you have girls in
I
your?
have teenage daughters.
Teenage daughters, and you have how many girls in your family? You raised
Three
three
daughters and a
daughters,
son.
yeah, and a son, and I had two daughters as well, and I think it becomes increasingly difficult to raise girls to be independent, women who have control over their lives. I guess that's the best way that we can say that, and. Every day in the work that I do, I'm witness to a lot of these things that are happening to our young women and these little girls, and sexual abuse, domestic violence. We're witnessing, mothers that, have some pretty heinous habits, and it bleeds into, raising their daughters. And you are representing a segment of the community where girls are looking for a place to go. They're always looking for something, to latch onto.
Well, what we do, we're actually, like you said, growing up as when I was growing up, my parent, or what I was taught was we have to shut up and just do what we're told. And basically when something happens, just, deal with it. But as we get older, as I'm watching my daughters grow, I don't want them to be out there and not able to speak up and not able to hold their own and be independent. And so Island Girl Power is there to really just inspire these girls, encourage them, and just show them that, you don't shut up to these things. You have to be aware of what's going on around you, and you do have a voice, and you do have, we want them to be independent. We want them to grow up and be the role models and be the mothers to our daughters, and, and just show the community that, we do know what we're doing, and these girls are smart girls, and they come here and they come to our clubhouse and they're ready to they want to hear all these things, and they want to
They're like sponges, ready
they
to
are.
absorb anything. And I think that the biggest threat, these girls have to fight off family members, not only sexual violence or sexual abuse, but just general domestic abuse
Yes.
taking place that they're witness to every day. And they're learning from women who don't have a control over their lives as well. Is that a challenge for you when you see this in your community or when you see this in your environment? You have teenage girls, so
Yes, I do.
yeah.
Yes, I'm a single mother, and so it kind of my daughters know, they see me and they know my struggle, but they also know that without struggle there is no, you can't look forward to your future and plan all these goals without struggling. So I try and teach them that it doesn't matter what your situation is, just go out there and be empowered with what with knowledge, and go out there and go to school and do what you have to do, and and don't let anything hold you back.
Yeah.
I mean, even everything that's going on around us with, I mean, there's issues like suicide, and there's issues like drug and alcohol abuse, and domestic violence and everything. But our girls need to know where the boundaries are. They need to know that you don't have to be okay with these things. You don't
Yeah.
have to,
The other point I have to make is that Marie Benito has had a long career as a teacher in elementary. You're an elementary school teacher, and over the past 20 years, you work in a public school. You've always been in a public school system
Yeah.
for the majority of the time, and so you're in a neighborhood where these you see that the threats against this generation.
Exactly, and I think the wonderful thing about Island Girl Power is, even though it is a girls empowerment center, their role doesn't stop there. They really do want to reach out to the community and let them know that it does take a village to raise a child. So getting the compound itself consists of a thrift store, which supports many of the activities, but it also has a family enrichment center, and there are books, self-help books. There's computers. So let's say a single mom might want to come in and figure out things for herself. We also utilize the center to conduct activities that invite other organizations who want to reach out to, maybe on suicide intervention. We've had classes held there. So it's really much, much more than just
just a girl.
Yeah,
just
a girl face.
Just a girl
What do you think is the biggest threat to our kids these days?
We had our open house this Saturday, and we actually did this photo voice. We did a photo voice project, actually asking our girls. We made them go out and actually to look into the community and see what do you see as a threat to our community. And I think what it was they pointed out suicide and
Really?
substance abuse. Yes, and so we wanted the community to come out and make their vote, and they did their vote on what do you think is the most critical, and what can we as a community do about it. So yeah, it's
Suicide, really.
Suicide is really, it's been a big thing coming out, I mean, with the kids nowadays. And it's been hitting close to home with a lot of our kids because it's happening with their friends and, in their schools. And so this is something that we, along with substance abuse, this is, I believe suicide is one of the other important issues we need to hit on and tackle,
And all those things, I think, they stem from not having the coping skills to deal with whatever it is they're doing. It's just, they turn to drugs, they turn to alcohol, they turn to suicide for ways to cope. But if they had things in their life, a support group, and that's what I think Island Girl Power hopes to serve as, is an avenue, one, to teach them we're here for you, but if not, there's a slew of activities that you can occupy your time with and better yourself with, rather than turning to some of the devices. So.
Who are the role models, though? I mean, who are our island role models? Are there?
I'm inviting a bunch of them.
Okay, I want to hear those names.
I've got Claire Calvo coming in.
Okay.
She's the owner of Synergy Studios, and she'll be talking about body image and doing some Zumba and yoga. We've got Rachel Ramirez from Department of Public Health, and she's with the breast and cervical cancer early detection program. She's going to talk to the girls a little bit about that. We have Lena Teitenfong. She is from UOG, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and she's going to be showing the girls how to eat healthy and cooking. They get to eat some free food.
Yeah.
That is the coolest thing about the clubhouse. There's a kitchen. I went up there once, one year, one invitation I had to go up there and cook. That was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
It was early into the clubhouse days. So whatever was there was what was just a whole mix and match, assembly of things to cook with.
It's actually awesome.
But it was Now, how does it look now?
Well,
I haven't been up there in a long time.
I actually started at the kitchen. That's how I actually started working with the girls. We just needed to do a cooking demo, and what we try to we have everything. We have food processors, and these are all donations.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and we have like blenders, and we have smoothie makers, and we have a fully working range and oven, and so we have this big table, and we try and make the girls cook their own lunch every Saturday, and we try to incorporate vegetables and fruits, and you know, just a healthy like diet that they can take home and they can use it at home, because a lot of these girls, they don't want to eat vegetables, but when we make them
Yeah.
make it themselves, they're actually like, you know, hey,
It's not
this
so
actually
bad.
this smells good and it tastes good, and yeah, so
They know they know what's going into their
yeah,
meals.
the kitchen is actually awesome.
Yeah.
I love working with the girls in the
I
kitchen.
thought that was just a great idea to be able to have a place where they could do, it's a hands-on
It is, and
area.
they love doing it.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I think this is the Friends of the Park is a great group, and I was really excited about it when we talked about clearing out parks. But now that you're actually going to be figuring out a way to use the parks, get them in there, see how much fun. It's difficult to get kids out there, outside playing.
Well,
outside.
it's summertime. It's
hot.
summertime, and so
Yeah.
let's get these kids out, you know, off the TVs and off their, you know.
That's so hard.
their
Do you ever
phones and
remember? We
stuff.
always have this conversation. Ever remember being in the house all day long when you
Not
were
as a
growing up?
child.
No.
We were outside
All the
a
time.
lot of the time. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just we're competing with a lot of different things. So, you know, there's activities going on
Yeah.
everywhere on
Yeah.
the island.
I think body image is a really, really cool topic for girls to because there's so many other influences that this internet technology. But that's a standard that girls feel like they should be at in order to be accepted, and that is a painful reality when you realize that that's not what really that's not what makes a person a person. The body image thing, is that a big deal in this age group?
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, we try and teach them it's not about looking perfect, it's about being healthy, leading healthy lifestyles. I mean, I try not to tell them, hey, you need to go on a diet. I try and say,
Yeah,
let's learn
yeah.
how to eat healthier, and let's learn how to live a healthier lifestyle, you know, incorporate exercise into your day and everything. So
Yeah, that's a good point. We don't want them to feel that there's a one body type
Right.
that we're looking for.
Or that there's something wrong with them.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
It's we're trying to. Child obesity is an epidemic nationwide, but especially
Especially on Guam.
in the islands, and so it's a risk factor to cancer. And so we're looking at it from that angle. Is you can reduce some of your risks if you wait, making sure you get checked up often, and eating the right foods and stay away from some of the vices. So it's much more than body image, and that's the message I think that Claire hopes to.
Well, she would know. She knows. She knows that topic very well. Well, I appreciate you guys coming down, and
Thank
thanks
you.
so much. And what's phase 3, by the way? Is there a phase 3?
Phase 3 is probably how do we sustain maintaining the park, but also making sure that there's activities. And if it's somebody wants to adopt the basketball court, and a
Yeah, have
team that
someone
wants
out
to
there.
come in, and I think once there's activity in the park,
Yeah.
you're going to see less of the people using it to drink and
Yeah.
conduct other business in there.
Yeah. Once you see what the positive uses are, people will
it'll
come.
chase away the negative. It will.
I agree. I'm 100% behind that. Thanks a lot. It's nice to meet
Thank
you,
you.
Renee.
You
Keep
too.
up the good work. You're doing a good
Thank
job,
you.
too. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. That'll do it for us. Something to talk about. We'll see you on the radio. Take care.